Bret Baier, anchor special report. Bret, good to see you. Obviously, good morning. Obviously, we're at a very intense moment here in this campaign, just 5 months out. There's a big debate happening next week, and the White House is, I think, making a very concerted effort to try to throw cold water on these things that are getting attention, not just from the media, but, you know, from regular folks all over social media as well.
Yeah, Bill and Martha, I think that this is fascinating. I think it shows the extent to which the age issue and really the competency issue for President Biden is surfacing in polls, not just in Republican critics' corners, but independents. They're not going to go down this very detailed defense saying it's deep fakes or cheap fakes. There was nothing fake about former President Obama reaching over to President Biden's wrist and kind of tugging him to go. It wasn't fake when the Italian prime minister reached out to say, hey, come back over here. Now, you could characterize it that, you know, if you didn't mention that President Biden was turning to the other parachuter had landed and gave a thumbs up, and that wasn't part of the story, fine. You could say that that's not characterizing the full context. But as the video itself shows, those people did grab the president. I think the dancing one, maybe he doesn't like to dance. It looked like he was frozen there. But I think that the explanation by the White House that they're accusing the video of somehow being altered is really stunning in this moment when it's such a big issue in this election.
You mentioned the polling, Brett. I just want to bring our viewers up to date on a little bit of what we're getting over the past couple of days. This was the Des Moines Register yesterday, a well-respected poll, has Donald Trump up an easy 50-32 over Joe Biden. The 50 doesn't surprise me for Trump. He's going to win Iowa. I don't know if it's going to be this margin. It might be bigger than that. What surprises me is the 32% number for Joe Biden. You think about right now, in Iowa, you know, Trump was an easy winner in 2020. But you know what's up here? That's Minnesota. And over here, that's Wisconsin. You start to think a little bit, well, maybe you get some spillover into these other states. And we'll see how that goes. This is our current forecast. Everything you see in yellow, we believe, is a legitimate toss-up state. I want you to put your eye on the northern state here, the Great Lakes states, Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota. Wisconsin's too close to call, but Minnesota and Michigan are lean Democrat. That could change. We'll see over time over the next 5 months. But Donald Trump's going to be in Wisconsin today. He's going to Philadelphia on Saturday, too. And Pennsylvania, again, one of these states that we have in yellow, a pure toss-up state. This was Minnesota in 2020. Joe Biden, an easy winner by about 7 points. And just come back to Wisconsin a moment. I just want to make this point. In 2016, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in Wisconsin by 22,700 votes. But there was a third-party candidate, Gary Johnson, on the ticket then, all right? He got 100,006 votes. There was no third-party candidate in 2020, and that's when Joe Biden, by a whopping 20,000 votes out of 3.2 million cast, was able to beat Donald Trump in that state and take the electoral votes there of 10. So just as we start to put this together here, and I'll walk back over and talk to Martha about this. We know this, and Brett, in Wisconsin this year, Jill Stein, the presumptive Green Party candidate, will be on the ballot. And we think Robert Kennedy, when he starts getting signatures starting in July, he only needs 2,000. So in all likelihood, in Wisconsin, you're going to get maybe 4 candidates on the ballot. Why is that important? Biden has to win Wisconsin, period. If he doesn't, that's what cracks the blue wall, Brett.
I totally agree. It's one of the reasons why the Republicans chose Milwaukee as the site for the Republican National Convention. Wisconsin is crucial, and most polls have it really tight. A little bit advantage to Biden in recent polls, but it shifts back and forth depending on the week. You mentioned Minnesota. That has come down to about 3 or 4 points. And, you know, the former president is trailing there, but it is really within the striking distance. There are states like Virginia that are much more in play than they used to be. These, I think since the conviction, you have seen some softening in independent numbers for the former president. But overall, if the election were held today, it looks by our reading of all of the average of polls, the former president would win. It's not today, and we have a long way to go.
On that point, Marist came out with a national poll today. They got a dead even 49-49, and they show some weakening, some softening among independents. So maybe something like that is happening. We'll see in time, Martha.
Yeah. Let's take a look quick at this CNN media montage of people who are covering this race just absolutely aghast at the numbers that they're seeing. Watch this.
How can you look at these statistics, these numbers, and not conclude that Joe Biden is a drag on the ticket?
I just think here we are in the middle of summer and things will stabilize and get back to norms as they always do.
But the numbers are the numbers, Bakari. I mean, are you saying just don't believe the polls?
I keep looking for signs that this is going to go back to normal, and I don't see it yet. I just never seen anything like this. I'm like speechless.
Yeah, he's talking there about the swing, Harry Enton, with black voter support, where Biden was up 80 in 2020 and is now up by 37. You know, we've all covered these races for a long time, too. I don't think we've ever seen moves like that, ever.
We haven't. And if that held, it would be astonishing.
Absolutely.
And it would be a major factor in this race. A Republican only has to pick up 2, 3, 4 points in the black vote to change the dynamic in these swing states. You're talking about 20, 25, 30 points in a shift. I think we should be careful on these polls at this point, but it is worth looking at this snapshot in time and seeing where things stand.
Yep. Nice to see you, Brett. We'll see you at 6 o'clock tonight in Special Report. Thanks for coming on.
See you, Brett.
You bet.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.